Hello and welcome to episode 146. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and I'll start us off with our business moment, which is really what I would consider the worst form of publicity you could get. So this is in my feed called D1 Ticker. I get it every day. It's about college athletics.
Uh-huh.
And there's a columnist from NewJersey.com named Politi, Politi. And they're talking about the Rutgers search for a head football coach. And they want to hire Greg Schiano again, who's the last arguably successful coach they had. But his career record was one game below 500.
True. But so it is Rutgers.
They go ahead.
I mean, Rutgers, I think there's a feeling on how good Rutgers is going to be,
Yeah, really. So they terminated discussions with Schiano because they couldn't come to terms. And the columnist says that not only did Schiano make reasonable requests during the negotiations, he was taking things off the table the past 2 weeks, not making additional demands. Then he also asserts that Rutgers fans, this is Politi, deserves a real athletic director and not one who fought hiring the best available candidate because it would diminish his own star in Piscataway. Politi also said that the AD would have gotten his hands dirty if he truly wanted to hire Schiano, but now he can sink back to his corner, the search guy, now he can sink back to his corner office in Chicago and try again in 3 years. The only winners Politi submits are those who argued that Rutgers did not and does not belong in the Big Ten. Turns out all these years later they were right. Rutgers doesn't have the stomach for big-time athletics. And here's the killer quote. Rutgers is a small-thinking, decrepit corner grocery store run by incompetent middle managers trying to compete in a world with Walmart and Target, doomed to fail before it even opens its door to customers.
Damn.
I know. It's creative. It probably took a while to think that up, but boy, is that something you want to put out there forever and ever and ever.
I mean, it's harsh. It's very harsh.
It's harsh squared.
Yeah.
But, look at the damage that does. If you're a recruit and you're even thinking about going to Rutgers and you read that, or if you're a coach and you're thinking about taking the job, or you're anybody and you're thinking about going there, that's as bad as you can get. A decrepit corner grocery store with incompetent middle managers.
Yeah.
So I guess my business moment of all this.
That's absolutely brutal. I mean.
Is.
Wow.
How do you do damage control on this?
Brutal. I mean.
What do you do?
I think on some level,
where do you go next?
I'm not saying that it's right by any stretch, but I think it's tough to compete in college athletics, if you're Rutgers.
Are we off already?
Yeah, I think it's tough to compete if you're Rutgers,
Yeah, totally tough to compete. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
I don't think joining, you can argue, joining the Big Ten got him a check. A big check.
Yes.
But it hasn't helped the athletics. I don't think it's helped the Big Ten either.
No.
I think it's one of those things that was good on paper. I don't think we talked about before. I don't think joining the Big Ten helped Maryland. I don't think it's helped Nebraska.
No, definitely not.
We were talking when I was at Oklahoma State the other week. And the Big 12 doesn't have 12 teams. It needs a couple teams. And I think the best thing we could do for Nebraska to return home. And then I would recruit Arkansas. Because Arkansas used to play all those teams in the Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
And I think they'd be much happier as part of the Big 12. Maybe they get a slightly lesser check. But I think have more of a chance to succeed.
Yeah, it's weird when you just said Nebraska Big Ten. Like I completely forgot they're in the Big Ten.
That's the problem, right? Because they haven't done anything.
No, and they spent their whole. My early years when I paid closer attention to all college football, like they were, they were a Big 12 team, which doesn't have 12 teams.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's very crazy.
So that's a business moment that will have a detrimental effect on Rutgers business for a long time. Because I can't help but think that got tweeted, sent out to a bazillion people today.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I think even non-sports people would like to just read that just trashing of that guy. I mean,
That was trashing at the highest level I've ever seen. But I could never, even if I felt that way, I don't think I could put that one out there. That's a little too harsh, even if unless you had about two six-packs.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't know who that guy was. Now I know what his. I mean, I know who that writer is on some. You know.
Well, I have another slightly business moment.
Okay.
I was at the gym today working out on I had the TV on. And for no other reason other than I didn't want to change the channel, I actually watched about 15 minutes of the Undisputed today with Shannon and Bayless.
Oh,
Shannon and Skip. You know, I think that's one of the worst talk shows I've ever heard.
I can't disagree.
It's heinous.
I've never understood Skip's. I know that the appeal of Skip is supposed to be you want a bit like is the Howard Stern, like you want to see. It's not you want to see what he's going to say next, right? But I feel like Skip is incredibly predictable. I don't feel like he's ever been like this maverick. It's just think of the dumbest thing somebody can take a stand on, and he's going to take a stand on it.
No, I mean he fancies himself an expert on the Dallas Cowboys. So the show has a real bent toward the Dallas Cowboys. And it was just like, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? We're talking about Jerry Jones. You know, Jerry, here's my advice for you. If you're going to bitch and complain, you haven't had a chance to pull the trigger for the last 4 years when you should have pulled the trigger. Don't talk about coaching. Don't even think about talking about coaching. That's your role. You can pull that trigger.
And like people, I mean, he's been under fire for everybody in the world except for Jerry Jones for the last, like you said, 4 years. Nobody thinks he's a good coach.
I don't understand. I mean, if it's really bothering you, this much fire. Because they still haven't beaten the team with a winning record. What killed me yesterday is there's like 6 minutes left in the game. They need a touchdown and something else. They go for a field goal. And you know they're going to give the ball back. But you needed a touchdown. And you were down inside the 10. I think they were inside the 10. Inside 15 for sure. And they didn't go for it. Bad coaching. That's your shot. So I don't understand. And they were talking about Amari Cooper being soft. Maybe he's soft, but that's one hell of a corner it was covering yesterday.
Yeah, it was like I was going to say special shout out to Stephon Gilmore. That guy he's like Deion Sanders, Darrelle Revis. Like you put him on, he's one of the you can put that corner on an island, as they say, and he can handle it.
I mean, why does it? You're playing in the rain in New England. You're not playing inside. Why doesn't Zeke run the ball 30 times? Don't know.
Zeke was averaging over 4 yards a carry, so it wasn't like he was getting stuffed.
Again, it just
and the Patriots have gotten gashed all season.
So Jerry Jones gets on a whines about it. Do something, Jerry.
Now, do you think there's any chance that he's secretly behind the scenes been calling up Lincoln Riley every year or any of these other coaches and just seeing if he can get anything else, or has he just been loyal to Garrett and just sticking with him stubbornly?
I don't know. That's an interesting debate. I don't see how you can stick with him, be this loyal. But he has, and I mean, Lincoln Riley would be crazy to take that job.
Yeah.
Except for the paycheck.
Well, I mean, you look at like some of the coaches that are coaching now. Obviously, Garrett, Freddie Kitchens. You look around, like all of a sudden you realize there's not that many good coaches.
How many owners are interviewed after their game? One.
Yeah, it was like maybe Robert Kraft sometimes.
No. One.
Yeah.
One.
Well, that's what he likes.
I feel bad for the special teams coach. He's dead man walking. That's what Jerry was blaming him. The block punt.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to blame the Cowboys on, and that is all of it.
You told me New England's going to score what? 16 points?
Yeah.
I take that every day. And here's Dallas Cowboys? Jeez, come on.
I think what's terrifying about the Patriot team is I think they're better, and he's better than Manning was when Noodle Arm Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl with the Broncos.
Yeah. No doubt.
That was a good defensive Bronco team, but I think this Patriots defense is a little bit better, and I think Brady is still better than when Manning was in that last season when he seemed like he was a liability on the team.
Yeah, I think he scored from one touchdown pass last 2 games. In each of the last 2 games.
Yeah.
In each of the last 2 games.
I mean, they're there for the taking.
They are.
We'll see if anybody can take him.
him.
And meanwhile, Dallas gets a chance to beat another over 500 team on Thanksgiving Day with the Buffalo Bills, who also haven't really played anybody.
But are 8-3.
They're 8-3.
With a 2-game lead in the wild card.
Yes. So the 49ers surprised me by. You surprised me that they won at home on
a Sunday night.
They surprised me by totally dominating
that game.
Absolutely dismantling that team.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was
a butt kicking.
an absolute destruction.
Speaking of butt kicking, how about the Jets yesterday?
Yeah, that was a surprising one. Like the Raiders have actually been playing pretty well, and the Jets stomped them.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thunk it? Now they're talking the Jets are back in the playoff race, so hold your hat.
Well, they have a 1% chance still.
So I'm going to give you your Steeler moment. Go ahead and talk about your boy.
The Duck. I mean, look, I don't have any illusions or delusions or illusions either way. I don't think the Duck is a starting quarterback in the NFL, but I think he's 10 times the quarterback that Mason Rudolph is. I think he's decisive. He knows where he's going with the ball, and he's confident. And I see Rudolph, and it seems like he can't get out of his own way in the pocket, and he just looks shaken all the time. I don't like him as a quarterback. I've never have. And it seems like that's been the sentiment around the league, too. I read this scouting report, and there were about 9 scouts, like Mike Freeman and some of those other guys. And they all said they have no idea who drafted Mason Rudolph or what they were thinking. And that, 2 years and 8 starts is pretty much proven that there must be some guy high up in the Steelers front office that likes Mason Rudolph because nobody else can understand why he's playing football. And I sort of agree. I don't know.
I'm going to abstain from
the discussion because it pains me.
I'm biased. I can't help but be biased. I like the fact that James Washington has continued each of the last couple weeks.
Yeah, that stiff arm was really nice on that touchdown, making the big play when he needed to. And I mean, a special shout out to Kenneth White or Kareth White and Deion Kane, who came in off the street and performed for the Steelers.
So with an off the street team and a first string quarterback, the Steelers have the second wild card right now. I don't expect them to hold it.
No, and I guess I got to give a special shout out. I mean, I know I've bashed Tomlin on this podcast before, but he's done a hell of a job this year.
It's crazy. I mean,
it's crazy.
And then you know what? To pull your quarterback.
I mean, that takes a lot of balls.
You're ruining him now for the rest
of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, lost in that Browns scumbag at the end. The horrible whatever. We won't have to get all the issues, but like Mason Rudolph threw 4 picks.
Yeah.
Like somebody called him Nate Peterman with a controversy, which is not a nice thing to say about a quarterback. But the defense continues to make plays. Devin Bush caused a fumble. Minka Fitzpatrick, once again, Johnny on the spot to pick it up.
Yep.
And, they've got a couple tough games. The Browns, who are really playing well right now, they seem like offensively they're kind of clicking.
Which they should, given the talent on the team.
So they got to play the Browns, the Ravens. I think they play at the Cardinals. Then they got the Dolphins and the Bills. So it's not an easy road.
Oh, they have the Jets.
Oh, the Jets, yeah. Not the Bills.
No, they have the Jets and the Bills. They don't have the
Dolphins.
Oh, okay. That's right. The Jets, the Bills, yeah. I mean, those are, and the Jets are playing better. The Browns are playing better. The Ravens are playing out of their mind. But that's the last game of the year, and it might not mean anything to the Ravens.
So tonight's game is the Ravens at the Rams.
Yes.
The Rams wearing those lovely all gold
yellow uniforms.
Yeah.
I
like those.
You got a prediction there?
I think the Rams are going to win.
Do you? Shootout or low score?
I think it's going to be a low-score game. I think Lamar is still going to look good, but I think it's going to be like a 21-17 Rams win.
All right, folks, you heard it here. Go get your money down.
Well, I mean, I've been doing terrible this season. I've won 1 week.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears talking about college football.
Switch gears talking about college football.
Big loss for Oregon.
Big loss for Oregon.
And Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. And I got to admit,
You
he
know,
looked great and terrible.
He looked great and terrible
in the same 5 minutes span.
in the same 5-minute span.
Yeah, but I think that's been the knock on him. Like, he physically looks like everything you want in a quarterback. He's got the big arm. He's mobile. But he just, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm picking the LSU kid over him. I'm picking the Ohio State kid over him. If Tua comes out even hurt, I'm picking Tua over him.
And special shout out to Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think sometimes
I'm picking Jalen Hurts.
Although Jalen Hurts has turned into a fullback.
Jalen Hurts has turned into a fullback.
A little bit.
They run him almost every play.
But it works.
It does work.
I mean, I think he's at the very least going to be an excellent quality backup, especially with, you know, all these guys like Lamar Jackson, you know, the running quarterbacks coming in. Like, if he's your backup, that's phenomenal. But I also look at a guy that, you know, was recruited at Alabama, you know, did the right thing, played hard, ended up coming in, winning the national championship when Tua got hurt after Tua took over for him, transferred, and has continued. I mean, he looks better throwing the ball. I mean, he could be, you know.
I think he's going to be in the running for the
Heisman.
Yeah. And he's continued to get better every year. So, I mean, you know, maybe he can continue to get better. I don't know.
I don't know, but Oregon goes down, so our top four is going to be Ohio State, Georgia,
Clemson, LSU. Not in that order, but those are the 4 teams.
Yeah, Georgia seems like I don't know.
I mean, Alabama has not played anybody.
Has not played anybody still.
No.
They're going to play Auburn this week.
And and that's their game.
I mean, Western Carolina, come on. Some of these games they played, I would take points away for playing that shitty schedule.
Yeah, because that's not one you knew 10 years ago that was a bad game. Like, that wasn't like one where you're like they should be good and they're just having an off year. Like, it's a cupcake game, and you got plenty of cupcakes in your schedule.
I am rooting now for Utah.
to make the Final Four.
What are the odds of Utah making the Final Four by the committee?
LSU beats Georgia, makes Georgia 2 lost team.
Yeah.
And then if Southern Cal keeps winning,
who's the only team I think to beat Utah?
Southern Cal's been improving.
They're top 20 team now.
And Oregon will still be. Oregon won't be any worse than 12 or 13. If they beat Oregon, they've had some good wins. Better than Alabama's schedule.
Yeah, but it's hard to imagine like Alabama not, you know, if a one-loss Alabama team, I think, gets in over a one-loss Utah team.
I don't think so this year. I don't think so. I think a one-loss team, one-loss Alabama team
with Tua gets in.
I don't think a one-loss Alabama team with
a backup quarterback gets in.
Okay.
But I'm hoping a 2-loss Georgia
team does not get in, so I'm still scared about that.
I'd rather see Utah than Oklahoma.
I think Utah's kind of interesting.
I just don't think.
It'd be a nice chance to get some.
I think LSU or Ohio State will mangle whoever they play.
Clemson.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, the game between 2 and 3.
The game between 2 and 3 is going to be the best game.
Yes, and Chase Young is an absolute monster.
Although they did everything they could to give
that game to Penn State.
They did, but Chase Young is just—he looks better than both the Bosas that came out of that same program.
Yeah, I don't think they couldn't block it all, but he was in every play. He could hit 10 sacks.
He could hit 10 sacks.
Yeah,
if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, when you look at what this year was supposed to be quarterback-wise, I mean, Herbert's dropped off. Tua is injured. Those were supposedly your top 2 guys. Burrow sort of came out of nowhere, and he couldn't be the best quarterback at Ohio State. So who knows if he's really this good or if this is just, you know, a guy playing well for a season with, you know, a great team around him. Like, I'd be hard-pressed to pass up Chase Young, and I'd want to almost wait for the Clemson kid next year.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the Dolphins have 5 out of the top 45 picks.
Yeah.
And they need a quarterback, so we'll see what happens. But do you like the 49ers build the defense first?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're sold on, you know, if you're sold on Joe Burrow, fine. But I mean, all the other guys, I mean, they've got huge question marks. I mean, Tua's had 2 ankle surgeries, now the hip.
Yep.
And I thought he was by far the best quarterback. I mean, he throws a beautiful ball. Like, he was by far the best one coming out. And now I think he's got monster question marks on him. Although if you're the Dolphins, maybe you trade back up and get him at like 10 or 12 or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you've got the luxury of a lot of picks.
Yeah. I do.
Not a great. I was also shocked that the Falcons seem to be playing well, and then they lose to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I guess while we're on the NFC, and I do live in the city of New Orleans, the Saints have looked a little shaky since Drew Brees came back.
They have looked a little shaky.
Like they can't seem to get the defense going at the same time, and they just, the Carolina game. I mean, Carolina
should have beat them.
Missed a field goal. Yeah, because that was a gimme field goal.
But I tell you what, I got a feel for Sean Payton. I've never seen anybody get worse calls against him than him.
Yeah, it's pretty
ridiculous.
Bad.
It's like it's a weekly thing. It's like you check a box, make a bad call on a pass interference play against the Saints.
Yeah. And they've got to get rid of that rule next year. Like I said, I don't know why Sky Judge doesn't exist and they just let Sky Judge make these calls, but
no idea.
It makes a mockery of the fact that you can challenge it at this point.
And I watched the tripping calls in the Dallas Cowboy game. Those were horrendous too.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas did enough to lose that game on their own, but those two calls killed 2 drives. And maybe they could have kicked 2 more field goals on those. I don't know.
Let's go to the NBA.
Luka.
I would pay money to watch Luka play. That's always my big statement. Because I can usually get a free ticket. I would pay money to watch Luka play.
He destroyed the Rockets last night.
And you know what? His style of play. He's like Larry Bird with speed and more leaping ability. He really reminds me of Larry Bird. He's really smart.
His vision is insane.
Very smart. But more gifted physically than Larry Bird.
Oh, yeah.
And still, 20 years old?
20. And I think you look at him and, he definitely added some muscle in the offseason, but it doesn't look like he's quite reached, that Steve Nash and Kobe phase of, putting all the workout know-how to become the best athlete you can be. I still think he's got room to grow in that area.
I agree.
And like you said, he has a knack. He's a knack for being where the ball is supposed to be. If it's a loose ball, he's right there. And he's got, obviously, you're a cocky kid with a tiger on your tattoo, and he's got that swagger.
Speaking about cocky, how about Zach Levine the other day?
Oh,
he went off after he went off on his coach. He went off in that game. I mean, that was the second most threes in the quarter. Ever.
Yeah.
And the dagger for the game. I've always liked him. I liked him when he played at UCLA. I was not happy when the Timberwolves traded him.
No, he was.
And I don't think he's ever been used.
That was a messy situation.
He hasn't had talent to play with either.
No,
he's a nice piece. If you put him on a decent team, he would be a really nice piece. Well,
Chicago's got a nice, with Wendell and Market, and they've got some nice young players on that team. And Cody White, I think there's something there. Not now, but building, obviously.
Okay. How about the Lakers? How ridiculous are the Lakers right now?
Assuming those two guys can stay healthy, yeah.
And no adjustment. Usually you have an adjustment when you bring another superstar into your team. That's just been beautiful. And he's actually really, I think AD is playing the best I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, I think so.
He's always in the right spot. He's always getting a rebound. He's always following a shot. He's always on the other end of a LeBron pass. He really is amazing. We have to add him to the MVP weight race too. To him, LeBron and Doncic. My three.
Yes. And I know he won last year, but Antetokounmpo has been phenomenal as well. How about this for historical comparison, Dad?
All right.
James Harden to one of my favorite all-time players as a kid, Dominique Wilkins. Just a phenomenal scorer that maybe just is always going to be just a great scorer, and maybe not enough to ever get over that hump.
Good point.
Good point.
James Harden, you could argue, has the Warriors in front of him. The Warriors are his kryptonite. Like Dominique's kryptonite was Michael Jordan.
Yeah. And again, they could both, go head to head and score with anybody, but it just seemed like they, but despite the numbers, they just couldn't quite break that playoff win. And I don't see the Rockets doing that this year either.
No, I think you're right. Unfortunately, I like Russell Westbrook. I think they're playing better than I anticipated. But yeah, they're still not. It's just not. I don't know what it is. It's just not.
I don't know what it is. It's just not.
I don't feel it.
No, and it seems like, assuming the health of everybody, hopefully it does. Everyone stays healthy. I don't think there's any pieces that are going to move the needle anyway. Like, it's hard to imagine who's on the trade block that could really change anything for a team. Like Bradley Beal, I don't think is going anywhere.
No.
And I don't know who else, is going to move that you're going to be like, oh, that's the piece that's going to put this team over the edge.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, though.
Oh, and one last NBA thing. Markelle Fultz has had a couple of nice moments this year for former Orlando Magic.
Yeah, I told you when I saw him, I wasn't impressed. So I'm glad he picked it back up again.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that he can actually play basketball on a professional level. How's that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but he had that big dunk, the time, he's had the steal and the dunk to tie that game against the Pacers. Like, he's had a few
moments worthy of being the number one overall pick.
No, he doesn't look like that. Far from that. But considering he seemed like he was on a complete mental breakdown and was falling away, like, it's nice to see him where he's at right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Contributing on a playoff team.
I agree. I'm happy for him.
Because the Magic are a playoff team.
I'm always happy for those guys that get an unbelievable amount of criticism. And the criticism sometimes is due to the fact that people had expectations that were maybe unrealistic.
Yeah. Sort of like the Saints' Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
He's been a really nice,
he's a piece.
Number 3 wide receiver for a decade. He just wasn't the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah. Yeah, but he has value. You just got to, find the right spot for him.
Yeah.
My entertainment moment this week is Dr. Sleep. Stephen King movie, which is really the sequel or follow-up story to The Shining. And they did a great job of following through The Shining and actually using a little bit of footage and recreating exactly pretty close to the footage. That when you see it, Jason, you'll see the moments of The Shining. They're pretty amazing. But really, really well done. Well acted. Ewan McGregor does a great job as Danny Torrance. Really, really entertaining. It doesn't quite follow the book all the way. And I'm okay with it because the left turn that it makes, I like. So that's all I'll say about it. But it was a very, very good read. A very good movie.
Okay.
Very good movie.
I guess I had anti-entertainment moment.
Okay.
Well, first, my entertainment. I'm still enjoying The Mandalorian. I'm only the 2 episodes in. And then I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, which is a Star Wars video game where you get to be a Jedi Knight, and it's sort of in the Star Wars universe. And I had the Disney Plus, so I decided I would watch the Star Wars movies, but I was going to watch them story chronologically, as opposed to, The New Hope and Empire. I was going to start with The Phantom Menace. That's an awful movie. I mean, speaking of Ewan McGregor, he's given backhanded compliments about how George Lucas doesn't like to do very many takes. And it seemed like they were barely, they did like a take and they were like, yeah, that's good enough. Jar Jar Binks is somewhat problematic, but the bad guys' Asian accents are like right out of Disney's Song of the South bad.
That's vicious.
That's vicious, but it's true. And then in the movie that follows, Hayden Christensen is the little boy grown up, and he and Natalie Portman have a love affair. In this movie, he's a 9-year-old boy, and Natalie Portman is still Natalie Portman, and they have a weird flirty relationship in this movie, which is sort of bizarre. I don't know if they're trying to foreshadow that they're going to be in love someday, but if they were going to do that, they should have had a different actress play the young Natalie Portman, because it's really weird to watch 20-something-year-old Natalie Portman flirt with a 9-year-old boy and have them give each other eyes.
Sounds like maybe she was his grade school teacher, which is sick enough, right?
Yeah. And, so I think maybe, and I talked to somebody at work today, they're like, yeah, just pretend like the prequels don't exist and just start with A New Hope and then watch those movies forward. So I might just do that.
Yeah, might be wise.
Yeah, might be wise.
Any food moments?
Any food moments?
I'm trying to think. I think sadly I did not have a food moment. I mean, I went back to Cake Cafe and had a delicious breakfast sandwich this time, but
Well, we came in.
I mentioned
we landed
Cake
at 3 o'clock
We
in
landed at 3
Orange
o'clock
County.
in Orange County.
And the original Mama D's opens at 4. We were there waiting when it opened up. We had our dinner at Mama D's. Mom had lobster ravioli, and I had my sausage and chicken Mama D's Fra Diavolo pasta. And I'm telling you, I love going to Mama D's. And their meatballs are as good as the meatballs I've ever had.
that is
You would
praise,
love these
Nicolas
meatballs.
Cage
You
would
would
say.
love these meatballs.
Oh.
They are unbelievable.
They are unbelievable.
So I actually bought 4 meatballs when we left, and
Four
today
meatballs when
Mom
we
and I
left,
had
and
meatball
today
salads for
Mom and I
lunch.
had meatball salads for lunch.
I love just a bowl of meatballs and sauce.
Yeah, and
Like,
so
that's a
I
great
throw that
meal.
over top of the salad. It's an awesome lunch.
It's an awesome lunch.
So I think tonight we're going to go see.
So tonight we're going to go see.
Well, we're going to go to Bandera, which is a rotisserie restaurant.
Which is a rotisserie
And
restaurant.
so that'll be my food moment next week if it was any good.
Next week if it was any good.
And then we're going to go. I think you'll see
And then
Mr.
we're
Rogers
going to go. I
movie
think you'll
tonight.
see the Mr. Rogers
Welcome
movie
to my
tonight.
neighborhood.
Welcome to my neighborhood.
Yeah. Tom Hanks does look surprisingly like Mr. Rogers. In that
Yep,
film.
and I think we're also going to go watch Knives Out
we're
this
also going
week.
to go watch Knives Out this week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That one looks really good.
Did it start yet, or is it just coming out?
Did it start yet, or is it just coming out?
I know it comes out Thanksgiving week. I don't know if it comes out like Wednesday night or if it comes out.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I know it's a Thanksgiving because I forget what the Thanksgiving movie release is, like as far as when that comes out, but it's then for sure.
Cool.
Very exciting.
Well, I want to wish all of our listeners a
Well, I
happy
wish all of our
Thanksgiving.
listeners a happy Thanksgiving.
And thank them all for their support
Thank
and
them all
following
for their
us for
support and following us
146
for
episodes.
146 episodes.
Greatly, greatly appreciate it. We still could use some reviews. Even if you just click, some stars and say, good, that still counts as a review. Very little work on your part. So
Okay.
we'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Paula Murphy, Matt Swan.
Paul Murphy,
Come on,
Matt
you
Swan.
people. Rate us if you haven't rated us before.
Rate us if you haven't rated us before.
All right. And so, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next week with hopefully another good Steeler win.